Somebody said this guy wanted to talk to me. I feel like I got an invite to their podcast a couple times, but I couldn't tell how big it was because it looked like they botted their but maybe they didn't. Because they have like is it like 10 million followers or something, or over 1 million followers on Instagram? But then when I looked up their viewership numbers for their episodes, it looked like nobody listened to it. This has 795 views in a day. So I have no idea like what, if this is like even like a real show or what is happening here, or maybe there's really popular on another platform.
21-year-old, I feel like I'm being mean, but then I'm like, well, they posted this publicly, so clearly they wanted people to interact with it, and I'm just interacting with it.
Yeah, they put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Whenever you debunk Destiny, I love those.
Yeah. So I really want to have a conversation with Destiny. Seriously, I think we'd actually agree on more than people would think, because they think that Destiny is like super progressive, which he is. He labels himself that. But I think he's a really interesting thinker. I won't comment on his private life because I know that's been the topic of some debate and discussion. But he's a really interesting guy, really interesting thinker, and I think a lot of his criticisms of the right are very fair, and so I align with a lot of that.
Yeah. Do you stay pretty much out of politics?
On TikTok?
Yeah.
No, I go into politics.
You do?
I think, but I like.
Who is, I don't know who, also this Matt Dearden guy. Does he do TikTok debunking stuff?
To think that my point of launch to go into politics is always.
David Pakman was on this guy's podcast years ago.
Based in more hard history or hard con law. Like, I don't like the accounts that all they ever do is just respond and do like political hacky sack back and forth. I just don't think that that's very interesting. I think it gets some views because obviously you're working the algorithm based on whatever's important that day. But I think that overall it's just a bad conversation.
That's how Piers Morgan built his brand.
You think so?
I mean, look at all his recent podcasts. It's just 4 people.
What are their most popular videos? Videos popular. This is 1.5 million. And then 700K, 600K. You reacted to his vids before? Okay, I just don't remember. Damn, everybody's talking about their stalkers.
Because I've heard different comments about like, oh, well, Julia's a fighter and people won't do this to Julia. Well, unfortunately, and this is a situation that is being handled. The police are involved. The guy is banned from stepping anywhere near Iron Forge. But yeah, basically we had a guy who has moved down to Texas for me, apparently, and has shown up to the gym. Unfortunately, he stole one of my teammates' keys. So he came to Iron Forge to try to meet everybody there, including me. I did have interaction.
Jesus. Streamer leaves on OBS. The cat starts stream. How? Is OBS triggered by movement or something? Or did the cat push a button on the keyboard? Oh my god. He's just big chillin'. The white cat on the right corner. Oh, there's another cat down here that did it? Oh my god. Oh, not good. How did the stream end? What happened? The fuck? Destiny sided with Hassan and bro, I didn't side with shit. Who fucking titled this? Fuck out of here. Trump just paused aid to Ukraine. Yes, I've seen that. What do you want me to say? It's not good.
Today we're talking about the Tate brothers. Crime is legal, ladies and gentlemen.
DP. Double
action is coming.
But why can't what? It was a bush right there.
How did you not hear him? What?
DP. Double
action is coming.
But why can't what?
Oh no. Based. Tate on PVD podcast? I can't handle it. Watching these guys is too much for me. Why do you keep wanting me to check out Ben Shapiro's video? I'm just going to lose my mind. What's the point? An hour and 20 minutes, bro. That's probably just the first part, and then he talks about something else.
Got a ton coming up for you on today's show. It is a mega show today. President Trump throws Vladimir Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine, out of the White House after a nuclear meltdown of a press conference. The rest of the world reacts, and we examine whether there's a new Trump doctrine or whether Zelensky simply blew it. We'll get to all that first. Tomorrow night, Daily Wire Backstage returns live for President Donald Trump's address to Congress. We are covering it all. Do not miss the exclusive pre-show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by the full address completely uninterrupted. And when he's done, we're back with a breakdown of what it all means. Watch with us tomorrow night at Daily Wire Plus. Okay, so before I get to the actual nuclear meltdown of a press conference, and we're going to go through the...
Before we get to a nuclear meltdown of a press conference. Right, let me go get some food. Hold on. Hold on one second.
Whole press conference, because I think that it is a disservice to all involved for us to simply focus on the moment where everything went south.
Kyle's going nuclear. Kyle who? Zelensky? On what? Where?
This is a long press conference. It was a nearly 50-minute press conference. And I want to go through everything that led up to the press conference because it sort of explains where everybody is. President Trump, Vice President Vance, Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and how we got to the nuclear meltdown. I want to remind you what a wise man wrote in October of 2022. Quote, Henry Kissinger has been publicly excoriated for suggesting that the off-ramp to this conflict will be territorial concessions by Ukraine to Russia, a repeat of the Moscow Peace Treaty that was signed after the Soviet invasion of Finland in 1941. But he may be correct, particularly if the West is unwilling to bear the full economic and military cost of a larger war with Russia. In the end, it may be that the least bad scenario is about simply preventing the worst case scenario. That wise man, of course, was yours truly. I've been arguing since mid-2022 that the off-ramp in Ukraine involved territorial concessions to Russia, Donbass, and Crimea in return for security guarantees that would ensure no renewal of Russian war in Ukraine. That has been the clear off-ramp for legitimately almost 3 years at this point. And so my view when it comes to the war in Ukraine is whatever gets us to that durable off-ramp is good, and whatever gets in the way of that durable off-ramp is bad. That's all. By the way, that also happens to be the policy of the Trump administration, which is seeking an off-ramp that would, in fact, not allow Vladimir Putin to waltz into Kyiv, but also acknowledges that the likelihood of Ukraine winning back Donbass and Crimea is basically zero and has been since 2014. So that was the predicate to the big meeting that was supposed to happen on Friday. So on Friday, President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, was supposed to arrive in the United States and go to the White House, and he was supposed to sign a minerals deal. Now, there was an immediate conflict between what both parties wanted from this. President Trump, he wanted the minerals deal because, number one, he believes that the United States ought to be repaid for its investment in other countries. This has been a long-standing belief of President Trump's, that when we get involved in foreign policy, there ought to be sort of a clear return to the United States, whether we're
I'm sorry. Can somebody link me? Because I missed this. What did we get from Israel again? What was did they pay us for any help in Gaza, or did they pay us for any of did they pay us back for the military money we send them in assistance, or did they pay us for the humanitarian dock that we built off the Gaza Strip? Did we? Really makes you think, huh?
Talking about defending Kuwait from Saddam Hussein, or whether we're talking about paying to defend Ukraine from Russia, there should be some sort of return to the American taxpayer. Otherwise, in President Trump's beliefs, we are getting screwed. Okay, that has been a long-standing Trumpian position. But there is something else going on here, and this was made clear during the press conference. President Trump always saw the economic minerals deal as a sort of foot in the door to prevent a Russian invasion. Because if the United States has workers in Ukraine who are, for example, mining rare earths minerals, And then the Russians invade. The United States is immediately dragged in. And President Trump is not wrong about this.
What is the guarantee that it's going to be U.S. workers working there? Like, even if it is foreign investment, and even if we do get to extract the resources, what's the guarantee that it's going to be U.S. workers there? Why would we even make that assumption? Number one. Number two, just because U.S. workers might get attacked there on something, it's not going to be Russian military shooting at them. It's going to be some separatist movement backed by Russia in some obscured way. Like, and then thirdly, let's assume that I'm wrong about the first two things. Maybe it would be Russia attacking them directly, or if it was a separatist backed group by Russia, we would just still blame them. And then two, let's say that it is like U.S. workers directly. If that is the case, then why not just give the security guarantee? If it's effectively the same anyway, then why not just give that guarantee, right? Like,
in fact, for centuries, this has been a Western way of making war, is that if there is, in fact, the British East India Company that gets involved in trade in a far-flung place, and then they are attacked by the local government, that does actually dredge up the problem of perhaps the British Empire getting directly militarily involved, and so you don't want to screw with the British East India Company. That is almost how President Trump is seeing the rare earths minerals deal.
Oh, because it was so popular in the past for us to force people to pay back war debt afterwards. What was it? What did we just read? That the French occupied the Ruhr, R-U-H-R in Germany or whatever, to force their workers to produce enough to pay back French for World War I shit in Germany. Like, this is such a popular thing that's led to so many popular outcomes in the past, right? Like,
That is what he's doing right there. Meanwhile, Zelensky is saying, I can't go back to my people and say that I signed a minerals deal or anything else without security guarantees. If the final settlement does not involve actual explicit security guarantees, I can't actually go back to my people with that. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons I've also been suggesting for years that the United States might have to go over Zelensky's head in order to negotiate the end of this war and then cram it down on him. They might have to, the United States, might have to go to Russia and say, listen, we know the outline of the deal. You may not like it. We may not.
Tate talking about you?
Taking photos of girls, sending them to other people, and it's all that stuff that's going online.
Guys, this is a very simple argument. This is a very simple argument.
Hey, Florida streamer Destiny. Yes. Talk about my case with the sex trafficker, Andrew Tate. Based.
Not like it. Zelensky may not like it. But, again, outline of the deal, Donbass and Crimea remain in Russian hands. There are, in fact, security guarantees to the Ukrainians, and that's the best it's going to get.
But it's not just the Donbass, right? Like, I don't know why he's saying that, right? Or are we saying all of this is part of the Donbass too, right? Because they have this entire land bridge right now, don't they, to Crimea?
Russian hands. There are, in fact, security guarantees to the Ukrainians, and that's the best it's going to get. Okay, so entering this meeting, all President Trump wanted was a grip and grin. All he wanted was for Zelensky to show up, and Trump would shake his hand, and there would be a sort of implicit understanding that almost became explicit during this meeting, that the rare earths minerals deal was a sort of trigger force for the United States providing security guarantees. And Trump comes very...
Then why not just write that in the fucking deal? Do you understand how fucking retarded you sound? Writing a thing that doesn't give an explicit security guarantee to a country who already had a thing that wasn't an explicit security guarantee, the Budapest Memorandum, that was never helped by other countries when they got invaded. Why would you sign another one of these things? It's so stupid.
Very close to saying that several times in the actual meeting. Zelensky comes in with another agenda. And as we'll see, it's probably because he was prepped by Democrats, apparently. He comes in and he wants President Trump in the room to say that he is going to give a security guarantee, a thing that President Trump does not want to do. Because again, from President Trump's perspective,
he didn't even say anything until the very end of this like 50 fucking minute meeting. Why did Trump have such a long public showing before going back to sign the shit? Why not do like a 10-minute little sit and chat? Why was this a 50 fucking minute thing?
The United States should not have to provide that security guarantee. Basically, Europe should have to provide that security guarantee. So that
if Europe should have to provide it, then why the fuck is the U.S. even here? Why would the U.S. get rights to Ukrainian minerals if Europe is the one supplying the manpower to defend the country? Then why is the U.S. even involved in these fucking talks? It doesn't make any sense.
Is the setup right here. Now, beyond that, there's personal dislike between these two leaders. So Vladimir Zelensky does not like President Trump.
Are we going to say why, Ben? Are we going to say it's because President Trump and his lackey, now disbarred and bankrupt, I believe, Rudy Giuliani, tried to call Zelensky to dig up dirt on a political opponent a long time ago that never materialized? Are we going to bring that up, or are we going to say he doesn't like it for some other reason?
He's angry at President Trump. He believes that President Trump and Vice President Vance do not like him, that they've said nasty things about him, which is true, that they have said things that are untrue about the Ukraine-Russia war in terms of casting moral aspersions at Ukraine that are unearned while going easy on Vladimir Putin. There's a case to be made that that's true as well.
That is true.
The Trump-Vance case is Zelensky is being intransigent because he wants my moral condemnation, but moral condemnation don't get the job done. The thing that gets the job done is whatever gets us to that off-ramp. So if that means that we have to sort of massage Putin in public relations in order to get him to the table, then we'll do that.
Then we don't need the United States involved. I don't understand what the point is of having the U.S. back you if we have to do cuck politics. What's the point?
Right, that is another one of these conflicts that's happening. And, by the way, Vladimir Zelensky, people forget this because, of course, he's been a very famous world leader since the outbreak of the 2022 war. Zelensky was an actor. He's an egomaniac. Zelensky likes being on camera. He made his money on camera. There's all sorts of footage of him wandering around the internet when he was a comedian doing bizarre things, body humor kind of stuff. That's who Zelensky is. So he's quite performative, like very performative. And guess what? So is President Trump. And so, as it turns out, is Vice President Vance. Okay, so that's the setup. Okay, the powder keg is right there. Now, it didn't have to go sideways. It didn't. Zelensky could have come in, could have done the grip and grin, could have gotten the win, could have walked out, and that would have been enough. But Zelensky really blows it. I mean, he really, really blows it here. I will say, of the three people in the room, the adult in the room is Trump. By far, it's not close. Zelensky comes in. He's very aggressive. He is, in fact, rude to President Trump. He's a little rude to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, I do not think, acquits himself well in this particular exchange. I know there are people on the right who think that J.D. Vance handled himself beautifully here. I think that J.D. Vance actually threw a couple of hand grenades into the middle of the conversation because there may, in fact, be some foreign policy differences between Vance's view of the United States in the world and Trump's view of the United States in the world. That may be emerging. It's kind of an interesting conversation. We'll save for a little later in the show. What are the ramifications of all of this? Which direction does the world go after this blow up of a meeting? Okay, now I want to get into the actual meeting. So as you can see, the interpersonal dynamics are already set from the very beginning for things to be pretty contentious. When Vladimir Zelensky shows up at the White House, he is wearing a sort of military jumpsuit. And now this has been a sort of bugaboo for many people on the right for a long time. Is Zelensky wears what Trump has called a costume. Why does he wear a suit? Now, would it have behooved Zelensky to wear a suit for Trump? Absolutely. What's the downside? I understand that Zelensky is trying to keep his country's spirits up, but it seems to me that if he had shown up in a suit, had a great meeting with Trump and walked out, that would have been a pretty good boost for the Ukrainian soldiers on the front lines.
While Trump is repeating the same fucking lies, while Vance is repeating the same fucking bullshit over and over and over again, like, I know that the American media can keep a lot of Americans in a retard echo chamber, but the rest of the world, Europe especially, doesn't see reality the same way. But I don't even know. Ben probably knows this. He's just a fucking, an actual fucking Trump cocksucker. It's actually insane how obsessed he is with giving credence to every single stupid tantrum and stupid thing that Trump and fucking Vance happen to spin up over there. It's actually insane. Like, Donald Trump is literally repeating lies that I think multiple other world leaders, at the very least Macron, has corrected him on. And Trump is repeating the same lie. You understand that to the rest of the world, it looks insane. We have an American president that doesn't even know what the fuck the facts are in regards to this issue, right? An American president who can't even say that Russia is the cause of this issue. And you think that Zelensky's supposed to walk into that echo chamber with the rest of the world watching him and command some kind of respect by sitting there bowing his head when the two are literally poking him the entire time? When you've got random retards like MTG's boyfriend taking shots at him, it's actually so humiliating. And in what world, again, I know it's like an all roads lead to Rome thing, so you can always justify every single action that Trump does. But if we actually look at this in an honest light, wouldn't it be better to seem like we're super buddy-buddy with Ukraine? Wouldn't that be the thing that would make Putin more nervous? What is this idea that, well, in order to bring Putin to the table, we've got to suck up to him and massage him and show him how much we fucking hate Zelensky and show him how cool he is and how awesome he is? Why? I thought we said that he already had the upper hand in the negotiations. Why would you try to make it seem like he has an even more of an upper hand? Wouldn't you want to bring him down a peg or two? Wouldn't that be the whole point? Is to say like, hey, actually, Putin, slow down. You're not as good in a position as you think you are. Actually, Ukraine and us are chilling. We're actually big chilling right now, so you better fucking slow your roll. Why would you have to give him even more? I thought he was in the stronger position. So that's why, like, it's so stupid.
Is it really more important that he shows up in the jumpsuit as some sort of, slap in the face at Trump? Again, this setup.
Slap in the face to Trump, who's known for looking like a gaudy fucking clown with his bright red ties, like a fucking Ronald McDonald dude. Gee, give me a break, dude.
Leads one to believe that one of the things that Zelensky is doing here is he is recognizing tacitly that the United States is out of the Ukraine business, and what he's actually trying to do, perhaps strategically, is blow up the meeting in order to get the EU to step in and try and provide some sort of aid that the United States is unwilling to provide. If that's the case, then Zelensky actually got something that he wanted out of this whole situation. But you can see right from the get-go, there's some antagonism right at the outset.
Pretty close. How are you? Pretty sure.
He's all dressed up today.
Okay, so he's all dressed up today. Right, and Zelensky, you can see, is a little bit ticked off by this. Obviously, there's a huge size differential. Zelensky is not a big man, and Trump is a very large human being. And then they finally sit down, and they have this conversation. So we're going to go through this in detail because this is, I think, one of the most fascinating and probably historic conversations we have ever seen publicly between a president of the United States and a foreign leader. And we should recognize that conversations like this have wide-ranging ramifications in terms of future policy. For example, the Iraq War was largely begun. The original Iraq War, the Gulf War, might have started because of a stray comment from a low-level State Department staffer who sort of implied that if Saddam Hussein had walked into Kuwait, the United States might not actually do anything about it. Right? So her name was April Glaspie. And the State Department had told Saddam Hussein that Washington had no special defense or security commitments to Kuwait. And at that point, Saddam took that seriously and he walked into Kuwait. Okay, so stray comments, certainly big blowups like this can.
Saddam had a lot of incentive to go into Kuwait, not least of which I believe he owed that country a fuck ton of money that he didn't want to pay back. The idea that he only went in because of that one comment, and for no other reason, is, I think, kind of fucking retarded, but okay.
Have some pretty radical ramifications for how foreign policy is conducted. In the same way that the Russian invasion of Ukraine probably has to do with the United States pulling out of Afghanistan ignominiously, in disgrace. In the same way, comments that are made on the public stage can have extraordinarily powerful ramifications for the future of foreign policy. That's why we're going to go through this in such detail. All of this could have pretty radical ramifications for Ukraine, for the United States as well. We'll get into that. First, this country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy their overpriced tea and then tried blockading us. Details. I'm using be a costly mistake. And this is where Tax Network USA's expertise becomes invaluable. To settle expertise, stop your cash. When this starts, President Trump is actually quite warm to Vladimir Zelensky. Here he is right at the outset.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine. And we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth.
Gross. Oh my
God.
God.
It means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States.
Like, how disgusting is this? That you open talking about how excited you are to go plunder this country's natural resources as they're getting invaded by by another country.
And we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal. But we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen.
So you can see from Zelensky's body language, he's immediately on his guard, right? He's already very nervous. He's clearly not liking what he's hearing from.
Are we doing like amateur fucking forensic investigation hour now or what? Okay.
Trump. What Trump is saying here is extremely good for Zelensky.
Oh my God.
And Zelensky came in oriented against Trump from the beginning. And you can see what Trump is saying here is he's looking for some sort of win. Right? That's all. He says right from the beginning, we had a negotiation spat, but that worked out great. And we're looking forward to getting in and digging, working, getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside. And it's a big commitment from the United States. What is he saying there? What President Trump is saying there is, we look forward to getting boots on the ground digging things, and once we're there...
Shut the fuck up. Why? Like... I like it when Trump says things, we don't take any of it seriously. Oh, he wouldn't really do that. Oh, no, he definitely won't do that. No. Trump, he's just memeing when he says terrorists and blah, blah, blah. But then when Trump says nothing of substance, now it's like, oh, no. What Trump said was there's going to be a strategic allocation of U.S. workers in eastern Ukraine that's going to trigger a military response from the United States if Russia does any sort of invasive measures against Ukraine and manages to damage any U.S.-owned and invested infrastructure. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are we serious right now? How does Trump manage to get the most insane amount of credibility on the shit that he says and the shit that he doesn't say? It's actually insane to me. If Trump meant all that, why not just fucking say it directly? Or why not tie it to a security guarantee? Like, he's a retard. Stop acting like the fucking retard is saying something that's not retarded.
It's sort of a tacit security guarantee. Now, Zelensky comes out firing. Zelensky comes out and he's like, I want a security guarantee in the room. Okay, which again, you understand why he wants it. He is the president of Ukraine. He does not want another negotiation that ends with, in 2 years, the Russians coming back in. However, these are negotiations that you save for the back room. This is not stuff that you do in the front room. Why is he negotiating in the room with President Trump? Isn't rejecting a security guarantee outright here. Trump has said nothing about a security guarantee. It's Zelensky who starts pushing him right out the gate.
Yeah, it's nice that we can retrospectively say this, but imagine they go to negotiate in the back room and then they can't get a security guarantee. And now the public media is like, wow, they were so friendly, in public. I wonder what Zelensky tried to demand. I wonder what Zelensky did. He was probably unhinged in the back room. Like, I can't believe they couldn't sign this deal. They literally flew to DC to sign. Like, now at least in the public, we can see exactly what happened.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for the invitation. And really, I hope that this first document, will be a first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees.
Why is this being televised at all? Because Putin, when he showed up to talk to Trump, every single time Putin shows up, he's got a phone loaded with all of the Trump piss tapes, okay? With Trump guzzling piss from Russian prostitutes in whatever hotel he stayed in. And Putin says, this is what you need to do, or else I'm posting this on the YouTubes and on Twitter and on all the social media. And Trump's like, fuck, what do I have to do? And he's like, you and Vance need to set up this, like, fuck, I don't care how long it takes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and a half, whatever the fuck you do. You need to set up a long ass meeting with Zelensky and just say some off the cuff retarded shit. Just talk like you normally do, I guess, until Zelensky kind of like gets mad. And then at that, kill the whole deal. And then we're good to go. And Trump was like, yes, sir.
Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do. And of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to save our country, our values, our freedom, and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories, but it will be later.
Okay, now, here's the thing. Trump could blow up at him at this point, but you're 2 minutes deep into the meeting. So what does Trump do? Like an adult, President Trump sits there, he listens to Zelensky, and he doesn't blow it up. He understands what Zelensky is saying. Zelensky is saying, I don't want to make any compromises. Putin's a killer. I want security guarantees. I want to work the Europeans into this. He's having a negotiation in the room in front of the press. So Zelensky is the one who starts this whole thing. And for 40 minutes, Trump allows him to do it. Why? Because that's what an adult does. What an adult does is he says, listen, I understand that you got to rant for the cameras. You got to do your thing for the camera. I get it. I totally get it. And in the back room, we're going to negotiate what this actually looks like. And listen to how
the reality is Trump is probably like zoning in and out of reality as he fucking nods off and he has no idea what the fuck the other dude's saying. That's probably what's actually happening.
Sober President Trump is here. I mean, it is an amazing thing. Now, for the guy who's supposed to be the one flying off the handle, in this meeting, it is not Trump who flies off the handle. It is Zelensky and then Vance who flies off the handle.
Why would Trump fly off the handle? He's coming in as a racketeer mob boss trying to extort hundreds of billions of dollars of resources from Ukraine. He has nothing to fly off the handle for. What do you mean?
So here is President Trump.
I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin. And I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time. And I feel very...
Like, no offense, but you're a retard, bro. You're a sucker. You're an actual sucker. Why the fuck would anybody care that you're friends with Putin? Aren't you? Well, I thought you were friends with Canada and Mexico. I think we were friends with everybody around the world, and now everybody fucking hates us. We've got massive 25% tariffs going up towards people that are supposed to be friendly towards us. We don't have anything in the works with China. We're just tariffing them. Like, everybody hates us right now. What does it matter what relationship you have? What have we gotten from any of these? We haven't gotten anything good from any of these so-called relationships or good business negotiations or good people skills or anything. What the fuck? What are we doing?
Very strongly that they're very serious about it. And
you have a good feeling that Putin feels very strongly that there's very good security coming from. Oh, okay.
We'll make a deal, and when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first.
What does that even mean? Like, no security until we get the deal made? There is no deal. What are you're making a deal to rape Ukraine's resources before even talking about security. What if you make the deal and Russia's just like, hey, you know what? We're going to take over that land, but America, you can just keep mining it. That's cool. Like, we'll honor your agreement, but we're just going to take the territory instead. Why would America even intervene at that point? Like, it's such a stupid fucking deal.
Okay, so what is he saying? Again, he's saying the same thing. When it comes to the economy, he's going to make the deal first, and that is going to be the lever that allows for security guarantees. Right? That is what he is saying.
That doesn't make any sense, you fucking retard. What is that? What is the lever there? What lever? What is the lever that we're leaning on? What are we talking about? What?
Okay, this continues. This is clip 5. So a reporter asks Zelensky if he feels like the United States is on the side of Ukraine at the moment. And President Trump's like, what are you even asking that for? I mean, clearly we are. I'm here with him. I'm signing a rare earths minerals agreement with him, like right now.
To steal their shit. Why are you saying like that's a good thing for Ukraine? Or they're like mutually beneficial?
Do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that... Sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us.
Okay, so again, that's Zelensky pushing. So Trump says, of course I'm going to decide what we're going to sign an agreement. All Trump wants from this meeting is to get out of there with a rare earth minerals deal that is going to provide the lever for a broader American commitment or tacit American commitment to the security of Ukraine. That's what this is. And Zelensky keeps...
I wish I had more historical context. Do these like stages of agreements ever work out? I just know, I know just from the limited history, not the limited history, but the history I have of Israel-Palestine, the agreements in stages has almost always been like a not great deal, right? Like it seems like it's happened multiple times with the Palestinians. Like it feels like you have to make a big agreement and that's it. But this like we'll do stage 1, then stage 2, then stage 3. That like these just fall apart for a variety of reasons. I don't know if it's like that with the rest of the world. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But like making stages of agreements with Putin. Also, your great relationship with him, Doug. You said this conflict would be over on day 1. The second you got into office, you said the conflict would be over. And what are we? 30, 40 days now? Seems like it's not over yet. What's going on?
Keeps pushing because he feels like publicly he needs to push. I don't know if he thought that he was going to get Trump to cave in the room or something, or if this is all virtue signaling for the cameras, or if he feels he needs to say this for his own people at home, or if this was all a sort of design to blow up the meeting in order to get the Europeans to step in. I'm not sure what Zelensky's strategy here was. All I know it's a very, very bad strategy. So President Trump, again, being very sober about all of this. And for all the talk about how Trump was the one who was combative in this, he really was not. For 40 minutes, he sat there while Zelensky effectively attempted to negotiate a deal in the room. And here's President Trump talking about compromise.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. It's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile.
Now you can see a fundamental difference between Trump and Zelensky here. Zelensky thinks that the United States is full-fledged on the side of Ukraine in terms of this negotiation, meaning they should, like Biden, just pour in aid without any sort of end, without any sort of designs to end the war. And Trump says, listen, I got to broker a deal. I want the deal. Now, we'll talk.
Broker a deal where the U.S. is extracting value from the one side? This is insanity. I just hope you realize how I hope these people can't eat in public anywhere for the rest of their fucking lives in the United States for how disgusting this analysis is. These people should be harassed everywhere. It's actually insane to me. What is the broker a deal where you come in with one side as the total victim getting absolutely fucked by the other side, and you're coming here to as a racketeer to steal shit from them in the middle of these negotiations? We're not even getting anything back? This is insane. Like the normalization of this conversation and everything going on here it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like this is the type of shit you read in history books. You're like, oof, U.S. Oof, we didn't have the best of looks there, did we? So Ukraine was being destroyed by Russia, and the United States came in and they forced Ukraine to fully surrender. But then they also took a whole bunch of shit from Ukraine at the same time. Like, Jesus, wasn't South America enough? Like we have to go fuck with Europe as well? Come on, holy fuck.
Talk about the ramifications of the meeting and how actually one of the things that the Trump administration might think about doing, and President Trump had said during that campaign pretty clearly, is say to Vladimir Putin, listen, we want a deal. You know we want a deal. We've been very obvious about how we want a deal. I've been giving you all sorts of props in public. If you don't make a deal, then we're going to ratchet up support because we can't just let you win by default, right? But that's not actually the approach that Trump is taking, and that's arguable. But again, in the meeting, so far, Trump is the person who's being mature, and Zelensky is the person, as I say over and over again. You can hear him being combative. This is for 40 minutes. You know, one of these sort of hot moments happen when one of the reporters is
so crazy that Trump could walk in a conflict like. Where's the extractions from Israel? That's what I want to know, okay? What is Trump taking from them? That's what I want to know, all right? Why do we give them so much money? Forever and ever and ever, right? How much money did we send over the whole Gaza, Israel thing? And they don't even need it. They're the fucking bigger side. How much money did we send to them? What the fuck?
There's a guy from One American News Network. I believe this reporter happens to be dating Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, and asks Zelensky about wearing a suit.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. You own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you.
Really? I don't have such. I will wear a costume after this war will finish. Okay. Yes, maybe one. Maybe
I think the costume comment here, I think, is translating from Ukrainian to English. I think costume is the equivalent of like outfit or suit or something on the translation here too. He didn't mean this to sound as insulting as it apparently did to some people.
Something like yours, yes. Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper then. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, there was a sartorial spat inside the Oval Office, and, you know, it's kind of fun to cover that sort of stuff, but there are other things I love about working in the news industry as well. Every day I get to connect with millions of listeners, share breaking stories at /Daily Wire. ZipRecruiter is indeed body type instant hunt in this deal. Helix just for you. Basically offering Zelensky an off-ramp.
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You know, you fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem.
That's not. That's like 98% of the problem. What do you mean that's the easy? Security is the easy part? What does that even mean? What are you talking about? It's a fucking war. Trade deals are easy.
I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stop shooting. And now will Europe put people there?
Oh, everybody stop shooting. Oh, so genius.
I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. You know, we have security in a different form.
Okay, he's right there giving Zelensky what he wants. This is where Zelensky should say, okay, great, Mr. President, we'll talk about this behind closed doors.
Great, yes, just take all of my resources with no security guarantee. This is exactly what I want.
Doesn't, right? Trump said these words, quote, we haven't committed, but we could conceivably, you know, we have security in a different form.
Which means no security.
Giving Zelensky what he wants. He's giving him the excuse, but Zelensky can't take the W. He can't take the W.
So why not just say then, yes, we'll work out a security agreement? Why not just say that? Why not just say that?
Zelensky keeps pushing.
Yeah, so please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
Okay, so again, you can see Zelensky is saying that Putin can't be trusted. This is why we need security. And again, I don't think that Zelensky is wrong about this per se, but why is he negotiating all of this? He's not going to get what he wants in the room.
Then why not just cancel then end the conference? Say that's good, we're done. Then why have this conversation here at all? Why not do this after you actually sign an agreement then?
Oh, President Trump is asked about NATO. And again, I think one of the things that the people want to attribute to Trump is that he wants to rewrite all the bargains of the world. And there are people inside the Republican Party who clearly want to do this. Okay, but I'm not sure that is what President Trump wants. There's been a lot of talk about Trump, for example, pulling out of NATO. Some loose talk. Elon Musk suggested that over the weekend. That would be, I think, a terrible move. There's been a lot of talk about President Trump basically ripping up the idea that America guarantees the freedom of the seas and sort of conceding the Far East to China and all the rest of this kind of stuff. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But here's President Trump rejecting that outright. He's asked about NATO. He's asked about Poland. He's asked about the Baltics. And here's what he says.
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. As you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too. But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal.
Okay, so again, this is President Trump actually saying the peace through strength thing, right? We want to be in NATO. Everybody's got to pay their.
Peace through strength. What do you think peace through strength means? Kill me. This is such a waste of brain power. Like, imagine being as smart as this guy is and just fucking knowing today that, like, I'm going to work harder than I ever have to go through the insane mental gymnastics to justify the stupid shit that Trump said.
Fair share. Nothing here is radical. Nothing here is particularly polarizing in what President Trump is saying. Okay, and then Zelensky, he continues to push. This is the theme. The theme is, for the first 40 minutes, Zelensky pushes, and Trump is pretty passive. Trump does not push back too hard. Here's Zelensky talking about Russia's intentions on the Baltics, on Poland. And by the way, he's not wrong that Russia obviously is revanchist. That Russia would love to split apart NATO by invading, say, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, if NATO weren't there. Okay, but Trump just committed to a continued NATO funding in those places. Here's Zelensky.
And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers. It doesn't matter. Do you have ocean or not? Your soldiers will fight.
Okay, now President Trump could fire back on him right here. He could say, well, that's not true. You know, why would American soldiers have to fight in the Baltics? He doesn't fight back on this because President Trump...
Yeah, true, Ben. Why would we defend NATO? That's actually true. That's the first smart thing that Ben has said. That's actually true. Trump could say, why would we go to the Baltics? I don't give a fuck about NATO. I could just fucking leave. That's right, Ben. Good job. Good, astute observation there.
Is actually not talking about surrendering all of Eastern Europe to Vladimir Putin, like all of his critics claim that he is. And then Trump is asked about why he has not said mean words about Putin. And this is Trump's perspective. If I say mean words about Putin, does that get us to a deal or does it not get us to a deal? Here's President Trump.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either.
Do you think that it's like fair to equate the hatred on both sides here when you have an invader and an invadee? Like, why would you even say that? Why would you even say this?
It's not a question of alignment.
Again, Trump is just saying, I want to get to a deal, right? Okay, now the meeting could have ended any time in here.
Could have ended? Why do we use the passive verb there? The meeting could have ended. Why not? Trump should have ended it. That's still a passive verb form. But still, what do you mean could have ended? Like randomly? Like what, were people supposed to get up and just moonwalk away? Why didn't Trump end the meeting then?
Here's where it started to go sideways. Like really sideways. And again, it's very tense. You can see the tension. Zelensky's tense. He's leaning toward Trump almost aggressively throughout this meeting. Trump's kind of sitting back and taking it like an adult. And the adult in the room is Trump in this meeting. That is the reality. Okay, so.
How is Trump sitting back when Trump is literally leaning forward? Wait, why feel like we're just making shit up? They literally have the exact same posture. Oh my God, kill me. This is like, you're seeing delusion like at its finest. This is just like, this is just conservative delusion. Like he's even seeing different shapes. He's seeing different things on screen. Like, look at how aggressive Zelensky is leaning so far forward but Trump is here with his back completely against the seat. Like,
his empire. It's a fact.
Right. Had mean words about Putin.
I didn't align myself with both of them. You'd never have a deal. It doesn't. The world kind of hate. He's got tremendous hate.
Ended any time.
It's not a question of alignment.
Again, Trump is just saying, I want to get to a deal, right? Okay, now the meeting could have ended any time in here. Here's where it started to go sideways. Like really sideways. And again, it's very tense. You can see the tension. Zelensky's tense. He's leaning toward Trump almost aggressively throughout this meeting. Trump's kind of sitting back, kind of taking it like an adult. And the adult in the room is Trump in this meeting. That is the reality. Okay, so JD Vance jumps in. So JD hasn't said anything this entire time. And the Vice President of the United States is sitting there. Now, in my belief, the Vice President of the United States should have been attempting to facilitate the end of this meeting. Okay, everything that needs to be said has now been said. He should have, and Trump should have, and everybody should, and Zelensky should. It would have been everybody's interest to say, okay, guys, now we've taken 45 minutes of questions. We're going to go in the back room. We're going to talk, and then we're going to do a signing ceremony. And so here's what happens. Vance decides he needs to jump in, and he needs to defend President Trump. Now, again, I know this is Vice President Vance's sort of typical role as bulldog for Trump. I get it. That's fine. But it does set off a conflagration. So here is Vance. And again, what he says right here is not particularly controversial. But Zelensky decides that he's going to go after Vance. Now, the reality is that whatever relationship Zelensky has with Trump, his relationship with Vance is terrible. His relationship with Vance is terrible because Vance has openly said he does not care if Russia just eats up Ukraine. Just doesn't care. Because Vance associates with a number of public figures who say some of the wildest things about Ukraine it is possible to say and some of the most pro-Putin things it is possible to say. And I'm sure Zelensky knows this. And so Zelensky takes offense, I think, at the fact that he's in the room with Vance. That's Zelensky's fault. It is. But Vance then escalates. So you'll see. We're going to break this down. Okay, this is the critical clip from the meeting. It's several minutes. We're going to stop and start it so we can analyze what exactly happens here. Here is Vice President Vance jumping in to defend President Trump over the accusation that somehow because he wants to negotiate an end to the war, that this makes him pro-Putin.
I'm going to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Okay, stop it right there for a second. Okay, so what Vance says there is totally inarguable. Okay, the vice president, he doesn't think he's about to get into a fight with Zelensky. Zelensky jumps in and starts fighting with Vance. Again, there's some people who think that Vance set up, I don't think that's right. If you hear what Vice President Vance says right there, not only does he rip on Biden, but he literally says the words, Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. Now, there's been controversy for 2 weeks over whether this administration is willing to admit that Putin started the war. That is Vance himself saying that Putin invaded the country and destroyed a large chunk of it.
Barely, but he doesn't even frame it through the negativity towards Russia. He just does that to get a dig on fucking Biden, and you know this. He knows this, dude.
Okay, so this is not Vance attempting to start a firefight. Zelensky jumps in and starts arguing with Vance. And I'm not sure what was going through Zelensky's head right here, honestly. It could be that he was planning some sort of conflagration to get European support. Again, it could be that he's trying to signal to the folks back home. It could be he just doesn't like J.D. Vance. Okay, but this thing breaks into like a wild nuclear meltdown here. Here's Zelensky going after Vance.
Sure. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
Well, 2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but during 2014 till 2022,
I hate my
situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversations, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him. Me, like a new president in 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel. We signed ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broke the ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy.
Pause it right here. Okay, so you'll hear Vance's response. So Vance's first sentence in response to Zelensky is the correct response. And that should be the end of the meeting. You should have said, you know, President Zelensky, I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that will actually end this war properly. We're going to have these discussions behind closed door. Instead, Vice President Vance takes the opportunity to throw 2 grenades. One is directed at President Trump, and one is directed at Zelensky. The one that is clearly directed at President Trump is that he mentions, as we will see, Zelensky going to Pennsylvania in the final days of the campaign and walking around Pennsylvania with Josh Shapiro. That is clearly directed at Trump. Okay, the reason he's mentioning that is to piss Trump off. Because that is like a red flag in front of a bull. If you mention that Zelensky, which again was an idiot move, a foolish move, I commented on the time, that Zelensky went to Pennsylvania and campaigned with Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who was campaigning for Kamala Harris in the last stages of the campaign. If you mention that in front of Trump, Trump is going to get enraged. He's also going to get enraged because Vance says out loud what Trump has probably been thinking. Trump's like, I've been contained this whole time. And Vance says, you're being really, really disrespectful. Okay, if you say to Trump, this man is being disrespectful and loved Joe Biden, that is like a red flag in front of a bull. Meanwhile, he then says to Zelensky a thing that no leader can sit there and hear, which is, you're losing the war. You're having to forcibly conscript people, right? Which is an accusation about the inhumanity of the Ukrainian regime that, frankly, Vance didn't use with regard to, say, Vladimir Putin, who has kidnapped apparently tens of thousands of Ukrainian children and then taken them back to Russia for Russification and all this. So you can hear, this is the part. So Zelensky started it. And then JD just pours the fuel on the fire.
Keep in mind, when you say puts a red flag in front of Trump, if that's all it takes to set Trump off,
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Imagine hearing this in the future and like, so America had a huge problem with DEI at the time, which is why this black woman was clearly unqualified for the job. As she says in 2 minutes, like more than what would take Trump 2 hours to stumble through. Like, actually kill me. Holy fuck. Keep in mind that there were people listening to that. There are people that, there are Trumples that'll be like, oh yeah, Kamala, she could barely string together a sentence. She couldn't speak. She was so fucking stupid. And like, bro, just kill me. Kill me. Kill me.
Like really pours the fuel on the fire.
Meanwhile, Ben Shapiro's analysis. So Vance brought up the fact that Zelensky did a little bit of campaigning with a Kamala Harris ally, and so that was enough to obviously send Trump into a fucking tizzy, which caused him to blow up an international meeting. Like, was this not Kamala's exact prediction? Was this not exactly what she said, that Trump could be led around on a leash like this because of how fragile he is?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to...
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know...
Oh, I've seen them on Twitter.
What happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction?
Where are they? Where is the military-industrial complex? Where is the deep state? Where are they at, guys? What happened?
Of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering
position to
honest
dictate that.
questions.
Remember this.
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate.
I can't. It's fucking retarded, bro. I'm good. Like, if you don't want to litigate this in public, why are you talking about any of it in public? Why would you even start the conversation in public? Why couldn't they just do this after they'd signed the deal? Wouldn't that make more sense? Just go out and do your thing after it's all been signed and done. Okay, I accidentally killed my stream yesterday, so we have to finish this chapter that I fucked up yesterday. I'm sorry. Did we stop aid to Ukraine? We sure did, as of I think like an hour ago, yeah. Wait, what is this? Hold on.
As far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
Yes.
And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I think it's a great comment. To one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments.
Should he say my elders? Damn.
I think it's a great. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making.
Jesus, that's ice cold. I got places to go, motherfucker. Damn.
that dried out, and God bless America. Thank you.
Oh, wait. You're an hour.
We're going to take pictures with you, buddy.
No pictures for you. Damn. He said, nope. He said, I got other commitments, motherfucker.